But we there we go. But over the last year, we've just decided to combine it and call it the Oregon chapter, since most of it's virtual anyways. And so someday down the road, we'll be doing more of these in person and kind of ramping up some of the excitement around that. A little bit about myself. So I've been in multifamily. I've been a multifamily investor for over 20 years here in Oregon, within the kind of the Oregon market. But I've also been working full time in a tech sales role. So I've been just slowly investing over that time. And you'll see this little logo over here. Recently launched a new brand and a podcast. So this is just purely self-promotion right now, but launched a podcast called High Tech Freedom. And it's my brand to help drive education to tech salespeople. And the idea there is, first you need to learn from the best in order to earn like the best. And then once you earn it, how do you take those hard-earned commission dollars and redeploy them in a way that drives additional income streams to help get you to that freedom that we're all looking for? So it adds value to my sales contacts, and also it helps build my pipe for capital raising. Enough about me, Ryan.
Yeah, just real quick. So I'm down here. I say Eugene, but I live actually in Cottage Grove, Oregon. Real estate experiences. About a year and a half into this, so invested in one deal as an LP in Phoenix, 160 unit deal down there, and then got about 60,000 square feet of storage out in Mississippi. And now starting to look more locally, deals that I can own, use my construction background experience network to just really dig in and build some legacy wealth for my family and I.
Awesome. Well, why don't we go ahead, and I'd like to introduce our guests, and then we'll maybe take a moment. We'll just do a quick, one of the things we like to do is, before we jump into the content, because some people may need to leave early, we like to just maybe go into a couple breakout rooms, give everybody a chance to network for a few minutes, exchange some contacts, chit chat. I mean, that's the goal here, is just not to sit and get PowerPoint to death with content, but really it's to meet people and build up your network. So we'll do that, go into the content, and then towards the end, because some people might join later, we'll do some breakout rooms again and continue networking. But before we do that, I do want to introduce our guest speaker today, Jake Penny. So Jake is based in Melbourne, Pennsylvania, and he's actually one of the chapter members for a multifamily masters meetup in his area as well. And Jake has been a full-time real estate investor, really has spent his initial part of his career focused on starting in the single home rental space, doing flips. He's actually pretty famous. He's been on the DIY network with his flipping business. And he also teaches and educates people about investing in real estate in his local market. And so I'll let him provide some more background when we jump into it, but I did want to just quickly introduce him now, so you know who he is.
Awesome.
Yeah, so welcome, Jake. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. But my name is Jake Penny, outside of actually Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm part of the Malvern chapter of Multifamilies, co-host for that. But been in real estate since 2016, primarily single family flipping, small multifamily properties, single family rentals, and realized that that's all fun. And I thought that was the gateway to real estate, because I never didn't think I could just go out and buy big multifamily apartment complexes. So I thought that was the only way. And then came to realize I'm not going to be able to create a legacy just doing one property at a time, and give back to the world in the way I see fit with single family real estate. So I took the journey a year ago to deep dive into multifamily, joined a different mastermind as well as this one, to just learn from the guys that are already doing it, so I don't have to recreate the wheel or make costly mistakes, because single family, it's a few zeros, and multifamily, it's a few more zeros when you make a mistake. So so I mean,
welcome.
what I would like to thank you.
Well, so we'll save some of your content. And so, Jake, thanks for correcting me. Clearly, I don't know my geography. That Malvern is not in
No worries.
Pennsylvania, and yeah, I looked that up. So that's the Northwestern for you. So, Ryan, do you want to go ahead and open up some breakout rooms? We'll go do a little bit of networking.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and just go for 5 or 6 minutes before presentation. Introduce yourselves, where you're from, what you're interested in, what you're doing in the real estate world. You never know when you're going to meet your next partner. So here we go. Yeah.
in the A&M program, but anyway, didn't quite make it to A&M, but a big fan.
Yeah, I miss the Texas lifestyle sometimes, but Phoenix is pretty great too.
Yeah, that's great. Hey Ryan, how are you?
Hey guys, good.
How's it
Sounds
going?
like Brian, you say you're in Phoenix?
I am. Yep, I'm in Tempe right now.
Okay, cool. And Matt?
Yeah, I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know this was the Oregon chapter. I hope I'm not crashing
No,
on party.
This is awesome. This is what we, this is the beauty of being virtual, right? You can be anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, I'm in Denver, so.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, you're making me not feel so bad.
I crash where I can.
Nice.
Yep,
Anthony, where are you at?
you're muted, Anthony.
I am in the Orlando area, Orlando, Florida. So right now I'm in the process of doing some 1031 exchanges, which I've never done before. So super nervous about that. Been talking to a bunch of brokers and so forth. So looking to get some insight.
Have you
Long time no
identified your
see,
properties?
Ryan.
No, we haven't identified the properties yet. We're looking to sell sometime late February, mid-March. So we're just trying to up now. So we're trying to like see what things are trading for in the market and where I'm at, just to kind of get an idea of what our money could buy. But it's nerve-wracking, man, because I've never done a 1031 before, man. So that 45-day identification period, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit, because I'm thinking like, should we just eat the capital gains, or so we're not buying bull crap, or just, so that's where we're at right now, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Where's
they make it such a short time period.
Yeah, where's the property at that you're looking to sell, Anthony? Speaking of direct to seller.
We're in Polk County. So Polk County is in between Orlando and Tampa. It's kind of like the heart of Florida. So that's where it's at. It's a portfolio of 9 units, and it's a mixture of single family homes, duplexes, triplexes.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
Man, we had these properties ever since I was a little boy, man. So now it's just like these properties are free and clear, and we're just trying to trade up into something bigger.
Yeah. I genuinely don't have experience in the 1031 space. The little bit I have, we had an operator that 1031 into one of our deals, and I learned about the tenants in common. And so you may just look into that on the front end and find out, because it's not cheap. and it's mandatory. And so there's a certain threshold, and I probably wouldn't be the right person to ask, but some people say 500,000, some people say 1 million, but there's a certain threshold there where it still makes sense to eat the tenants in common. But, you know, it just depends on the price point that you get for the 9 units, I guess. Do you guys have
Yeah.
any experience in 1031s? I genuinely don't. That one deal was the only one I remember. I want to say that the tick was like 60 grand.
No, I've never done one.
Yeah,
Oh,
same here. I've never done a 1031 either.
I
I'm
haven't,
to be
but
gonna have to
clear,
do
you
one
all-
shortly. So
To be clear, you only have to do the tenants in common if you 1031 into a multifamily syndication. So there may be other ways around it if you just 1031 into like a joint venture or another property. But if you do it into a syndication, I think you have to do the tenants in common.
Oh, okay, okay.
hey, Anthony, another thing you might consider is just if you own those properties free and clear, why not refi and keep cash flow in those properties and then go buy something else.
You know, we've been thinking about that, man, but it's just you know, they're kind of spread out. It's like we're looking for something underneath one roof, you know. So like, even though they're spread out, they're still close enough for a buyer to get them, but we're wanting something close together. And then we're just wanting something a little bit newer because these are like 1950s built. We're wanting something maybe, you know, a little bit not so old, you know.
Oh, the room grew. Welcome back, everyone. What's up, Ray?
What happens when you add water?
Greetings, Chris. Greetings, Ryan. Always glad to see
Hey,
you
Ray.
guys. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
All right. Well, we'll jump into it, Jake. So we introduced you. You gave a little bit more background. You know, the topic tonight is really how to find off-market deals. And I'll let you provide a little bit more color on your topic. But are you just going to talk, or do you have slides that you wanted to share? Oh, you're muted, Jake.
Still muted. So I'm going to talk for the most part. I do have like websites and whatnot if you want me to share my screen, where I can walk through and show you like what I do, how I outsource for deals, and what type of streamlined pipelines I put them into. So it's a kind of like a set it and forget it. And then I also have a strategy for brokers and also low hanging fruit private investors.
Sounds great. So Ryan, does he have access to share?
Should be good now, Jake. So you're a co-host, so should be good.
Yep.
All right. Well, Jake, I'll let you
Awesome.
run with it. And then, you know, as Jake is talking, we'd love to keep it interactive. So by all means, interrupt, ask questions. You know, this is for everyone. So Jake, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Let me green. Oh, hang on. Of course, my headphone dies as soon as I go on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. So, you know, going into sourcing for deals. I mean, obviously, you guys, know that you got to, find your niche at first, your niche market, whether that is, multifamily buildings, small multifamily, 20 through 50, 100 plus. If you're looking for, owner occupied, individual owned, or like LLC owned. And obviously, if it's like LLC owned, you have to go through the corporate search websites and search that stuff. And that can be a little bit more intricate. With the way I do it, I just go through for the most part for individually owned, because the data that you scrape from like skip searching websites is much more accurate. So what I use for the data, the data to find the properties, I use PropStream. Some of you may use CoStar for bigger multifamily, or Reonomy, or RealFlow. But so say for instance, your properties, you're looking for multifamily 20 to 50 units, and you want to get a good list instead of marketing to a large list, you would stack list stacking. So, 20 years plus, not owner occupied, but individually owned, 40% equity. And, you keep stacking the list so that way they have multiple layers of motivation. And then you would go to a skip trace website like, what is it? Direct skip or REI skip. Skip trace the leads and whatnot. And then what I do is I put them into a system called Systemate. I got tired of hiring VAs and making cold calls and having tons of systems like different CRMs, text message, services, RVM services, and it just got to be like too much for me. And then trying to integrate all them and take notes and everything and be on top of mind to follow up was one thing, So I use a system called Systemate. Is once I have like the data, I've got my list and I've skip traced everything and I scrub the list to make sure that all the numbers are there. There's no bank owned properties in there, or if there's any properties that don't have numbers, what I'll do is I'll go to True People Search or I'll send it to my VA to skip trace, and that usually costs about like $4 an hour for them to skip. So that way we have all the proper. Are you guys still hearing me?
Cut out for a second, Jake, but you're good now.
I keep getting stuff that pops up. But just to make sure that all the numbers are there and accurate, I go through that and I actually go personally go through the list to make sure all the numbers there. And then what I do is I plug them into this pipeline right here. It's called Systemate. And this is kind of like a set it and forget it system. That way, like I said, you don't have to worry about cold calling. You don't have to worry about text messages, emails, or sending postcards. It's just an all-in-one system. So that way you don't have multiple softwares that cost you a bunch of money and trying to integrate everything and remember to follow up with people. So what I do is I take the list and I put them into this pipeline. It comes with Systemate. It's called a cold call machine pipeline. And it consists of 4 total pipelines: marketing to sellers, call and text it back, cold leads, and offer rejected. And what it is once you take your list of say like 200 people and 200 properties and you put them into this marketing to sellers right here, it'll run through 7 calls over the next 30 days. Now you have to pre-record each of these and create the copy, but it's a set it and forget it. And it'll, follow up with text message as well. And usually what I do is I just say, hey, I recently drove by your property. For multifamily, I'll say, I was recently in the area looking at a 60-unit property. I don't think that property is going to work out for me, but I wanted to call you and see if you had any potential interest in selling your building. Give me a call back, 610-955-8407. And that'll automatically send out to them. And then it'll wait about like 10 minutes. And then it'll send a text message to them automatically saying, hey, I just called you. Give me a ring back. It's important about XYZ property. And this will be multiple different touches, different voice recordings over a 30-day period to make sure that, one, you call them, so they call you back. And it's like I said, set it and forget it. Now, if they do call back, this is what I love the most about it, is that it goes directly into the call back, text it back category. So it takes them out of the pipeline. And you'll be able to see, for instance, these are all the people that have called me back from pipelines that I still either have to call back or they haven't answered my call yet when I've called back. So it goes into this messages thing and you're able to see what pipeline they're from, their name, their address, the picture of the property, and you're able to text through this and whatnot and take notes as well, like the CRM.
And then from there, you're either setting up the appointment, they're either not interested. And if they're not interested, you'll be putting them into the cold lead. And from there, it gets a sequence of follow-ups over the next 90 days. Again, set it and forget it. You're not having leads slip through your fingers, and it's getting done for you. That was like I said, the biggest thing for me was I would either have to hire people to do it, or I would, there'd be too many for me. I would forget about it and it would just slip through. And I mean, that's money on the table that you're losing.
Hey, Jake, I had a question.
Yeah.
Hey, how much marketing per month are you spending on this, on the marketing portion of it?
So right now, so this month alone, well, in the past 30 days, probably about $3,000.
Okay. Are you using the pro or the premium?
So I'm using the middle version.
Pro. Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
They just did run a special. I think it was $9.97 for lifetime access. So that's what I bought. So I don't have a monthly membership fee.
You said lifetime?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You don't need to spend $3,000 a month. I'm also using it for multiple markets, not just my backyard market. So, I mean, for instance, it has a 20 to 50% response rate on marketing. So
that's high. That's really high. You said 20, Jesus. How many markets are you working at a time?
So Delaware, PA, New Jersey, and Ohio.
Wow. Okay. Great.
With that 3,000 in a month, how many messages or how many contacts are you touching or sending messages out to?
I
mean, just ballpark, like 1,000, 5,000.
I'd probably say like 2,000.
Okay.
Or maybe more than that. But I mean, just this week alone, we got 3 properties under contract, 2 single family houses. I mean, we're still doing single family as well. We got 2 single family properties and 1 triplex. So, I mean, it works. It's a lot better than what I've used in the past. And for the fraction of the cost, I mean, I was spending tons of money on like HubSpot or like, I still use MailChimp, but, Lead Sherpa was $300 a month. Freedom Soft was another $300 a month. My Investor Carrot website was another $100 a month. So, and then plus all like leads and whatnot, it got to be so expensive. And then I learned about this and I was like, man, this is a streamlined software that I use it for multifamily, I use it for single family, I use it for brokers. And then I'm also going to be ruling out to use it for private lenders as well. Because, in the markets that I'm focusing in Ohio, there's like 800 brokers. And I'm like, well, I'm deal sourcing. I have to talk with brokers. I have to create relationships with bankers, all this stuff. How am I going to call all these people? So I got a broker list from CoStar and LoopNet, put all them into a spreadsheet, and then also did the same thing for that. It was like, hey, I'm out in Ohio, whatever market they were in. And I would say, hey, just look at a 60-unit building. I don't think this is going to work for me. We ran the numbers. You have any pocket listings or off-market deals right now that you have, or anything in the pipeline for the future to sell? And that kind of took the work and the time of initially contacting them, and the people that actually contacted me back, we started creating relationships. So
and Jake, sorry to interrupt, but that's a message you're leaving for the broker.
Yeah, so the same thing that's right here, I just took it out and renamed it and put it like Ohio Brokers, and I just dropped them in there with different copy. And the people that got back to me, I put them in the cold lead thing, and then I got instead of like a handwritten postcard that said, we want to buy your multifamily building, it said, like, appreciate the call. Let me know if you have anything between 75 and 150 units in your market. We'd like to buy something in the next 90 days. And it's just like a nice touch, them getting a handwritten postcard as well at their broker office. But not many people do that either.
PropStream?
So with PropStream, that's what I use for like the data.
For the list.
Yeah, for the list. And
Yeah, because,
go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, so I just go in here and I'll type in like Ohio, for instance. That's one of my multifamily markets that we're looking in, and I'll just put 50 to 150 units. Take that list out, like 20 plus, 10 plus years, 40% equity, stuff like that, and then I'll skip trace it with either REI skip or direct skip, and then I'll just take that list and put it right in the pipeline. The marketing message will be a bit different because you're targeting multifamily buildings, but pretty much the systems are the same. And what you do is just come in here and you just make copies of this pipeline, and everything is streamlined.
Later, because I've done a fair amount of this, and a lot of the conversations lend itself to that, where they're not upset that you called, you finally got in touch with the right person. It's just not the right timing. Is there a way or something in this Systemate that will automate the task setting to remind you to call them back? Because a lot of times that conversation ends like, it's just not the best time. Try us the first part of next year, or try us back in 6 months. When you're calling that many people, it's super hard to remember, shy of having HubSpot or something. I just wonder if there's something within Systemate to create a task to remind you to call that property owner back that you had a good connection with. It just wasn't good timing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why this software has been such a solution to me, is because of that same reason. I would always forget when people would say, "Oh, I'm not interested right now, call me back in the future." So right here, this cold lead pipeline, it's a sequence. You can make the sequences at any time that you want. You can make them 10 days, 30 days, 90 days, whatever. But this is what I put them in. So they say, "Hey, I'm not interested right now," or "get lost." I'll put them in the cold pipeline. And then what it'll do is it'll send a direct mail handwritten postcard saying, "Hey, thank you for getting with me today. I appreciate it. If you want to sell in the future, I'm your buyer." And that's handwritten. It gives that nice little touch to it. And then, for instance, this whole sequence right here is over the next 90 days of consistent follow-up with that person that said they weren't ready right now, but they may be ready in the future, or they just said they weren't ready. Now, I can change these to any type of timeline that I want. I can have this ringless voicemail be sent 90 days after this postcard, and then this next direct mail piece sent 100 days after this ringless mail. You can customize it any way that you want, and like you can also put emails in there as well as like another step in the sequence to just be everywhere, right? Because you don't want to bombard them and be annoying, but you also want to be top of mind 24/7, because there's a million people out there trying to buy properties, and they're getting stacks of postcards or voicemails from other people as well. So it's not about you being the best offer all the time. It's about being consistent, top of mind, and always being that person that is following up, but yet not being annoying either.
No, that's great. So just so I'm crystal clear, you can manipulate the cadence and the timing of the cadence for each customer when you hang up the phone, or each prospect.
Not individually. No, you can't do that. So
if you talk to one guy that says, "Call me back in 6 months," and you change the cadence of 6 months, that's going to change all the cadence for the rest of the conversations. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you look right here, it says like step delays 30 days. So that's 30 days from that direct mail piece. You can't actually individually do it, but there's no reminders either. I mean, what you could do is, click appointment and then put the appointment for like the next, 6 months, like somewhere at 6 months marker. And then what it'll do is like pop up and say like, "Oh, like you have an appointment with this guy." Not that you do, but it might remind you to call that person.
Yeah,
Look at your
that's really cool.
little notes section.
Yeah, that's cool.
What
Thank
made
you.
you choose this system over, I mean, my gosh, how many of them are out there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
no, that's great, because I mean, look, I know there's tons of them. There's Salesforce, there's REI. I mean, there's so many different things, right? I'm just wondering what made you draw to this one.
So one of my buddies, his name is Billy Batson. He's in.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with Billy Batson?
Florida. Yeah,
Yeah, Florida.
I was just messaging with them last week.
Oh, cool. So yeah, he uses and he told me about it. We've known each other since we both got into real estate, and it's totally changed my business. And like I said earlier, it cut down on a lot of expenses. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Freedom Soft.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
they're hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month.
Yeah, Lead Sherpa's like $500 a month.
Yeah, so I was using Lead Sherpa for the last 2 years, and that cost a lot of money, and it was just text message. And I also had Freedom Soft, which is another $300. I had HubSpot, which for the email marketing stuff was another $200, and then Slide Broadcast and all these other systems, to where there was no integration either. So a lot of leads always slipped through, or I was double marketing. And once I found out this a few months ago, I switched over this, cut my costs, and everything's in one place. And, all my CRM, my email marketing, my text blasts, my RVMs, everything. And it's still a lot cheaper than what it was costing me. And it's so much better.
So when it comes to the text messaging and things, do you have to pay extra for that?
Yeah, there's some marketing pricing. If you just go to systemate.com, they can. It's right on the first page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not like an affiliate or anything like that, so I don't even have a link to send you or anything or discounts. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to, tell you guys about this software and how it helped me. But like I said, you can use it for everything. You can use it, like I said, you can use it for brokers as well, to kind of take that task off your plate. Because if you're sourcing for deals and you're calling brokers and everything like that, and you're starting out and don't necessarily have a team, like for me, it's just me and my wife. So we're not only just doing multifamily, we're also still in the single family game in our backyard market, single family flipping, connecting with brokers. So doing all these tasks on a daily basis is a lot of minutia all the time. So when I was able to systematize everything and take that out of my daily task and just be done automatically and not have to think about it, it really helped me, and saved a lot of time as well. Because I don't mean.
Is it okay if I interrupt with a rookie question real quick?
Yeah, no.
So I kind of started searching this off-market deal process. You get a conversation going with the potential seller. If these are all houses you probably actually haven't seen, if you're sending out this many, how do you come up with a price? Because that obviously becomes one of their first questions is, what will you give me for it? So what do you do after that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, well, what's your offer? And it is pretty hard to give people an offer, and they want an offer. They're just thinking like, I'm not going to talk to you unless you have an offer. And I usually always tell them like, do you cover? And then we just go out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all right.
Why is it doing that? Sorry, I don't know what keeps.
We got you now.
Am I good now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what keeps going on. It keeps going in and out on my end. Apologize.
You're good now, Jake.
But when people do say that to me, I just always say that, it's hard to judge a book by its cover. I wouldn't necessarily. I've only drive past the property. I always tell them I've driven past it, because you at least want to give them that aspect that you're somewhat serious. You took the time to drive past it and whatnot. And I always say that, I don't want to give you an offer that I can't stand by. So if you, don't mind, I would like to set up a 15-minute walkthrough, because all that it takes to, run through at least like a single family property, or a small multi, not definitely not a big multifamily building. And I said, I won't take up any of your time. I'll give you a non-binding offer within 24 hours. And usually that gets me in the door. If not, I usually just go into like the regular script of just going down the list of trying to get as much info so that I can visualize what the property looks like.
Cool. So do you have any process for estimating a good price, or you just kind of use your market knowledge and run your own numbers?
Just by going through like the script of asking them questions about what the property's interior is like. Since I've done it for so long and am good at budgeting and whatnot, I know what, if they're like, oh, well, the bathroom is 4x4 tile, it's pink or green, something like that, I know it's a 70s bathroom. Or they tell me this kitchen is this or whatnot, I know immediately, well, that size property, it costs X. And I just start going through that. And then I'll just look up comps on either PropStream or the MLS, and then just base it off there with, backing into my price with, soft costs and everything, and the price of capital as well.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Jake, I got a question here. When you're marketing to these sellers, are you calling these people, or do you have VAs calling, or does this Systemate do the calling for you? I mean, I personally have a W-2 job. I'm sure others do. And I just don't have time to make all these phone calls. So they're just curious on that process there.
Right. So it does do all the calling, all the texting, sending the direct mail pieces for you and emails. So all you have to do is just come in here and you'll call, it'll be your own pin in here, and you'll call this number and just record the script and hit save. And then it'll just go right into the pipeline. And you'll do that for the whole pipeline before you get it started. That way, once you press on and upload, prospects into the pipeline, it just goes right away. And next thing you know, you'll get calls left and right.
How does this compare to Active Campaign? Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that a email marketing?
It's
Yeah, I can speak to that a little.
It's an automation thing as well.
Yeah, it's definitely automation, but more around the email marketing, and it's got all kinds of hooks into other tools, but it's all about getting emails into the system with people that opt in, and then automating all of that activity. I do believe there's some hooks to where there's other third-party tools that can do some automated dialing once you have a list built. But I think it's a little bit different. I think you're dead on. I think it's really about the automated email marketing.
Okay, I was just curious if I'm not familiar with either one of them extensively, so I just wondered. I know a lot of people use Active Campaign, but I didn't know if it had all this dialing possibilities.
Yeah. So for example, I use it. I recently spent, 4 months kind of getting it set up. And so I have it set up to do some of this where it'll do some emails, it'll do some text messaging, and then, for example, somebody books a meeting with me through Calendly, it'll take them out of the automation, because that's part of the goal, is the automation is to get them to book a call with me. So once they book it, I don't want to bug them with a bunch of emails. But I'm not familiar with the the ability to call and make a voicemail.
Yeah, I mean, I still use MailChimp for like my content and sending deals out to private investors. Releasing that weekly or monthly newsletter to potential investors. Like you said, book a call or reach out, go to your website, sign up for, go through your investor questionnaire, stuff like that. I still use that because it's definitely a lot more trackable on there for email purposes. And there's more plugins and whatnot with that. So this is more directly for, I would say, seller outreach and just automating, maybe the calling of broker outreach.
Hey, Jake, I've got a question for you. How do you track your hot leads once you've talked to them?
So if you talk to them, they're either going to be a cold lead or an offer rejected. But for the people that you actually talk to, it would be in messages. For the people that actually contact in, will be in messages. So like it'll be all here, who they are, and then you would, for instance, just pull this up, like what pipeline they're in, their contact information, and whatnot, and like the stage of lead that they're in. And then you have like notes where you can take notes, kind of like a CRM, contract, close, offer price, if you put an
Okay.
offer into it. And then there's also like a deal pipeline as well that you can set up with your contractors or title company where, it'll be like, hey, quotes for contractors, and then it'll send it out to them to where they can give you bids and stuff like that. But there's not necessarily like a hot lead list or anything like that.
So gotcha. So those 3 properties that you closed on this past week, you just tracked through here and just kind of kept your eye on it and dealt with
So
them.
we just got them under contract this week. We didn't close on them this
Oh,
week.
okay. You got them under contract. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Copy.
Awesome.
Hey, Jake, I have another quick question. We've looked into doing the text message thing, and obviously the answer is no, there's not any issues, but I was steered away from the text messaging to mass database bot leads lists because of legality issues. Could you speak to that at all? I mean, obviously the answer is no, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I was definitely steered away from using text message to bot leads. Do you know any loopholes or?
It's definitely a gray space, I would say, for sure, because you got to think it's still like the new thing, text message blasts, and there's a lot of laws. Oh no, here we go. Are we good?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I don't know why it keeps changing speakers and whatnot. But there's a lot of legality still with that. New laws coming out all the time that are put in, walls up between that. Because like I said, I used to use Lead Sherpa, and I would get all these updates of like, oh, here's a new law. We can't text to Verizon customers anymore because they came out with a new spam blocker and all this stuff, or you can't text people before 8:30. Not that I would anyway, or after 8:30, but it just got to be like an interesting, marketing type process.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but you still have to be. I would definitely say you still have to be careful. That's for sure. Just don't pitch. Don't try to sell. I think a lot of the laws that are coming out are when you're trying to sell something. I mean, we're trying to buy something.
Oh, okay.
Not selling, then I think you're good.
That makes sense. And you've had no issues.
No, I mean, I have people curse me out, say weird stuff, or tell them they're going to file a complaint or call the cops or report me and stuff. I just take those people that say they're going to take legal action out of the pipeline, and I just simply apologize and say, hey, we won't contact you anymore. We're putting you on our do not call list.
It's a really cool system, by the way. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah. I hope it provided some value. I mean, I hope I, talked about it in a way that you guys understood.
No, it's very interesting. And Jake, I got a question. So I'm using Property Radar to create lists right now. How do you get accurate phone numbers? I think you said skip tracing, and I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, so skip tracing is just like a term to where you send it off to a company, they search the web and get the most valid phone numbers, email addresses, and some of them even give you like relative email addresses, phone numbers, and email as well. Because I think if it's a vacant property or it's a probate property, nobody's going to be there at the property. So you have to find either where they moved to or a relative if they have passed away. So that's some of the skip tracing services do that as well. So that's how I get my leads. Skip trace, I use either direct skip or REI skip.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you said that. I heard the term skip tracing a lot.
that just me or?
Skip.
Hey, Dylan, I think you're
REI.
kind of.
Cool.
It's jumbled.
It's
Yeah,
jumbled.
he's lagged.
Awesome.
All that was lagged.
I guess
Yeah.
somebody had to do it, right?
Yeah. Am I caught up?
Hey, are.
There you go.
What'd you say, Dylan?
I bet. Oh, I think I was just saying, yeah, I've heard of the word skip tracing a lot. I just haven't had it explained perfectly. I know you said direct skip and REI skip are the best places to go and get phone numbers and accurate information. So thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes with like LLCs, they won't be able to skip that. So what you'll have to do is you have to go to the corporate search website for that. Go in there, see if they have the filings of where like the managers are or principals, and then take their information, go into like a website called True People Search. You can also use yellow pages or white pages, and then manually skip trace those because you have that level of like, discreteness with LLCs sometimes.
Yeah.
I take it you get your skip trace list and you're able to import that list into Systemate somehow.
Yeah. Yep. And you can, put in whatever. So say you import a list, you can put that list in whatever pipeline you want. So it's not just like a bulk upload. So I just put my list into here, and then I apply all the mapping features like first name, last name, phone number, address, tax mailing address, and then I put them into the pipeline that I want them to go into.
So does it figure out the differences between like name and first name or?
Yeah. In the whole contact thing, for instance, I'll show you here, is that it'll break down first. When you put it in there, usually you have the header column in your skip trace list where it says like first name, last name, phone number 1, phone number 2, property address, property, city, state, mailing, state, all that stuff. And it'll just recognize that. If it doesn't, it has like drop down boxes, and then it just puts them in there with the header, and then everything's good.
So it can tell what it is, even though it might not match perfectly. Okay.
Can you export?
You can export as well. But I mean, you already have the skip trace list. It's not like it goes into here and then comes out a different way. It's the same.
Well, if you ever wanted to export the names and the contacts.
What, like from a certain pipeline of like, say like cold leads or like offers
If
rejected?
you wanted to take and put into an Excel and then just, do whatever you want with those contacts.
Yeah, from a particular pipeline.
Actually, let's check that out. I'm not too sure. I haven't actually looked into that.
And then does it have like any automation that you can add on to the system? Kind of like a Zapier thing or?
No.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Let me see if you can actually do that.
How long have you been using the system?
About a month and a half now, I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah, 3 deals in a month and a half. That's not bad.
Pretty dang good right there.
Pretty good.
But you said you spend about, did I hear you right? You spend about 3,000 a month on it?
So I've spent $3,000 so far, but if you can see right here, it says Systemate Bank. That's like my I can pre-buy like RVMs or text messages or emails or postcards, and it just goes right into the Systemate Bank. So technically I only spent $2,500 so far, not $3,000.
Oh, cool.
And I think you answered one of the questions that was in the chat. So are they sending out the postcards on your behalf?
Yeah, so they hand write them and send them out on your behalf.
Oh, nice.
So let me see, bulk action, move contacts. So I don't think you can export there. I mean, you most likely can. I just don't know yet on how to do it.
And you said out of the
no problem.
2,500, you get about 25. Did you say 25 to 50% response rate?
Yeah, because when I first started, I was really ambitious and I just wanted to dump a ton of leads in here. My buddy was like, just start with 200 leads. You're going to be super overwhelmed. Well, I put like 800 in it. And I was like, man, I can't even use my phone because my phone's just ringing off the hook. And I asked him, I was like, can I shut this thing down for a little bit so I can catch up? And because I had to shut it down. And it took me a week to catch up on all the leads. That's just how it just was insane how many that actually called back or inquired and stuff.
But you
And it's
can
all
shut the,
private.
but you can shut the faucet off. Like if you're going on vacation or you're getting overwhelmed, you can just turn the faucet off and put the pause button on it.
Yeah. So what you would do is you would just hit the edit button and it'll turn the pipeline off.
What
And
would you,
then,
what would you suggest we start with?
what do you mean by that?
Like how many leads would you say to give a shot for your first one? You said your buddy suggested 200 and you went with 800. That was too
Yeah,
many.
I mean, however many leads you can handle in a day, really. 200 leads, I would say, is definitely fine to start with.
Okay.
Jake,
There's
we have
also-
about 8 more minutes. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with the group?
Yeah, I would like to share, another strategy that I started to implement, not with Systemate, but for private lenders, because we're either deal finders or private lenders or asset managers. So my biggest thing was finding new money, and I was like, well, I can either create content and consistently go do email drips and everything like that to bring in new prospects through the door to book a call with me, go through an investor questionnaire, and create that relationship to where eventually I can, send them a deal if I'm a 506B. But for 506 people that have Reg Ds, 506Cs, I think it's really advantageous to just go after the low-hanging fruit. And what I mean by that is private lenders that are in the single family space that are already lending money in your area. They're lending out of qualified plans like solo 401ks, self-directed IRAs, whole life insurance plans, or they just have cash sitting in the bank and they're already real estate investors. They're already lending to investors. And for most single family private lenders, they're only making anywhere between 10 to 12% on interest per year. So as multifamily investors, we can beat that because one, we're giving them equity and we're giving them cash flow. So they're actually making a lot more than that 12%, more like 15 to 20 plus over that time period of a deal. So I found a list on ListSource to where it's a private lender list, and that goes by city. It can go by state, county. And what it'll do is you'll just choose your area and it'll give you all the people that have made private loans on real estate in the last X amount. If you want in the last year, it'll give you the property address. It'll give you the name of the individual, the mailing address of the individual, the amount they lent, the term, and the rate as well. So then now you can send them a postcard if you're structured right with Reg D. You can send them, say, hey, I seen you did a private money loan on 123 Main Street. I think we should have just whatever you want to say. I think it'll be a good idea. I think it'd be we had a talk or got coffee, or we're doing deals in this market right now. I have people that are looking to that need money or whatever, just to be of value to them and get in front of them. So that's what I started doing. I started doing postcards to them people and just going after the low hanging fruit.
So you're thinking they might be investors in a syndication? Is that what you
Yeah. Eventually you want to either you create that relationship with them and you use them as private lenders for small, like single family or small multifamily properties, whether that's 3 units, 10 units, and they just become a JV or either a second mortgage, or you try to transition them over to invest in syndication, where they're actually getting better returns than investing into single family, earning like 8 to 12% per year. And they're pretty much only using a debt product with that. It's not debt and equity.
So Jake, what do you like to offer your private lenders? It sounds like you said you offer them some equity in the deal too.
So no, I mean, right now for single family and small multifamily, we just do strictly debt, anywhere between like 8 to 12%, depending on the deal. It's never like the same, depends on the risk scale of the deal. And then also if it's a first mortgage or a second mortgage. We never do more than 2 mortgages with single family or small multifamily. And we never commingle funds because that would be a security, and we don't have the proper structure or Reg D for that. So we just do mortgage 1, mortgage 2, whoever has the higher amount in the deal, that's first lien holder. And then obviously second lien holder is a lower amount and they get a higher percentage because there's more risk entailed to it. But they both get like a mortgage, promissory note, assignment of rents, non-owner occupant, confession judgment, guarantee and suretyship. They also get listed as an additional insured loss payee on the insurance. They get listed on the title insurance policy. They also get a lender's policy and get put on our life insurance policy as well.
That was a really awesome big list. You got a way I can get a copy of that list or everything you offer them? That was really structured, that and everything you promised them to keep them protected.
Yeah, I can definitely, do you want me to put it in the chat, Ryan, or you want me to send that to you?
No, everything you
Yeah,
want, everything you
if-
just said. In the
Okay.
chat.
Jake, if you want to, I've been kind of taking a little bit of notes I can send out to everybody on the list. If you want to add to that, I'll blast that out to everybody that's here.
Okay, yeah, I'll add to that and send that over to you.
Jake, question, do you do any syndication projects at all?
Not yet. I mean, I'm
Okay.
still working towards that, getting out of I say I'm getting out of the single family room. I'll probably always be in it until I grow to a
Okay.
certain scale, but looking to get my first bigger deal this year and leave the rat race in single family.
I hear you. Yeah. So just because I'm new to the group, I want to be transparent and share my. I only do 20 plus. It's my plan for my business, my book of business, and my numbers are going to be 6% cap rate or higher, 9% cash on cash, and a DSCR of 1.4 or better. So, and I'm only going to do C and B syndication projects. So.
What market are you getting
So I haven't. So right now I am just fundraising because I haven't put my team together in Oregon. I haven't put my team together in Washington, Puget Sound area. Those are the 2 markets. I want to put teams together, and then I have 2 other markets I have to investigate. I have a mentor that wants me to do Cleveland, Ohio, but I have to do my. I've only been in the game like 3 weeks, right? So I'm going like crazy, right? But I have a pitch deck for a project in Missouri that I'm trying to pitch. So I do not want to be an asset manager. I do want to be a deal specialist. I definitely am going to raise capital, and over the next 2 years, I'm going to learn how to underwrite properly. So that's me. So,
Right.
but anyway, so I love to provide value to this group as much as I can, and I hope I can do that. So
Yeah, thanks, Lawrence and Jake. So we're right at 6:30, 9:30 your time.
Yeah.
You guys know Jake's on the East Coast, so he's hanging with us pretty late on a Wednesday night. So I do, like I said, want to be respectful of everybody's time. There's a ton of energy in this group, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave this open. If you guys want to continue networking, feel free. Chris, you got any final thoughts?
No, except I want to make you put in a plug for next month.
Yeah. So really quickly, Jake, if I could get you to stop sharing your screen so I could see everybody. Just real quick, everybody's got their camera on. Show of hands, who really loves paying taxes? No one? All right, so next month, got a buddy of mine who's a CPA, really talented CPA. He's in the syndication business, real estate investor, who's going to come on and just talk about the benefits of being a real estate investor from a tax perspective. And there's opportunity to get that burden to zero if you play your cards right. So join us next month. last Wednesday of the month, same time. See you guys there. And again, I'm gonna leave this open. Stay as long as you want, network, partner, whatever you want to do. Now's your time. Thank you all for being here.
All right, thanks a bunch for putting